Hello and welcome back to the Long Island Railroad Montauk branch. Today we are back on the main railroad and we're going to do something a little different because basically I've done everything else I needed to do. We are going to follow the movement of engine number 400 and closely, or at least as best we can, position our crew members about the train as we go about our business, which is something that you should always think about when you're operating your trains. And where is my conductor? Where is my brakeman? What are they doing? What is the best way to get them where they need to go? It's a little, I'll admit, a little tedious. It's not anything you need to do all the time, but it helps to do it once or twice just to get a better feel for how things are actually happening, how long it's going to take, why you should stop your train in certain places and not in other places because of where the crewmen are, and other factors like that we will discover as we go about our business. And our crew for today is on the right, conductor, let's call him Johnny. And on the left, the brakeman, we'll call him Tim. Yeah, just made those names up right on the spot. Now a little bit about engine 400. In reality, the Long Island Railroad did have a GE 44-tonner, engine number 400. It worked the Morris Park Yard Hostling engines. As far as I know, it never did switching, but who knows? This engine started life as a Santa Fe model that I stripped the paint off and repainted. It has a Soundtrack Tsunami 2 decoder. There's actually a lot of room in the cab here, so I was able to put that in, a Soundtrack's Keep Alive, and a speaker in there somewhere. I'm not sure what kind of speaker it is, I forgot. Anyway, it runs really well, and the only problem is that I never used it before is the motor, the Bachmann motor, makes a heck of a racket. So it's kind of annoying, but I do like the engine. So our task today is quite simple. We are going to take the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie boxcar full of lumber over to Fromm and Shekel Lumber, and we are going to pick up the empty gondola that's there, and we are going to take the ACL insulated boxcar and deliver its load of fresh vegetables over to Block and Guggenheimer and pick up the empty reefer that's there. Okay, we've got our crew on board. Let's get out of here. That bell, in case you're wondering, is the low oil pressure alarm that always goes off when you start the engine because the oil pressure is low. You can turn that off. Alrighty, we're set. GE 44-tonners are not known for their speed. All right, had a little dirty track situation there, but I took care of it. We got Dave the flagman flagging our crossing of the street. Oh yes, listen to the whine of that Bachmann motor. Sounds good, doesn't it? Maybe it can't even be heard on the video. We'll see. And we're heading back down the yard lead / siding. We're going to cross over Greenpoint Avenue. Let's get our crossing signal going. Passing in front of Fromm and Shekel Lumber there. So we're going to, from here, get on the main and then back down to blocking Guggenheimer, which is over there to the left. Switch that, and then we'll turn around and get Pharma special as a facing point sighting. Now we're approaching the signal that will allow us access onto the main track. So we're going to stop it here. And now I assume, I don't know this for a fact, the conductor is going to get off and go call up the dispatcher on the phone and request permission to come on the main line and take the switch under local control. So we can see from the engine, we walked across this crossover and is now over there talking on the telephone, getting permission from the dispatcher. And now, permission having been given, Conductor John throws the switch. Okay. Throwing the switch. There it goes. Gives the appropriate signal, whatever it is, and backing up. Okay, train is clear of the switch. And Johnny's going to jump back on board. So we have reached the switch by which blocking Guggenheimer is accessed. Brakeman Tim has gone back to throw the switch, like that. Now the next question is, blocking Guggenheimer has a gate. Does Brakeman Tim carry keys to that, or just the conductor, Conductor John? Is he the only one that has the keys? I don't know. I'm going to assume that Brakeman Tim also has the keys, because the conductor being senior to him, he gets to walk the least, Brakeman Tim gets to walk the most, therefore Brakeman Tim gets to open the gate. So now Brakeman Tim is at the gate. He's apparently had a few because he's having some trouble standing up. So he's at the gate, going to pull out his keys. He's going to open the lock, which I have on the fascia. Lock. Now he can open the gate. All right. We're under the able supervision of Brakeman Tim. We're going to assume the car is coupled. All right. The cars have been successfully coupled. Now, do I release the brake on that car or not? The answer is no, because I'm just going to pull it out, park it on the siding, and leave it there. So why release the brake? This also happens all the time. You don't always have to release the brakes on these cars. As long as you're not going to be, dragging it for 100 miles at 40 miles an hour, which we're not. We're just going to pull it out, put it on the siding, or on the main track rather, put the replacement car in there. Then when we go back to couple to it, well, then I'll have to make that decision. Brakeman Tim is going to have to go back up to the switch and throw it, which, let's see, he does. Switch thrown. And then he's going to have to stay in position with the car and uncouple it in just a moment when it gets back there. So, I'm going to pull ahead. Brakeman Tim is going to have to go back up to the switch because our conductor John is apparently extremely lazy. He believes in learn by doing, so Brakeman Tim gets to learn by doing, even though he's probably already done this 1,000 times. So, pass the switch, Brakeman Tim comes, throws the switch, and now we're going to back into a Pharma session. Or, excuse me, block and Guggenheimer. Alright, there we go. Now, before we uncouple, what do? We set the emergency brake. Now the car uncoupled. Pull forward. Till we're past the switch. Brakeman Tim can go in and close the gate now. Gate's closed. Lock the gate. Hang it back on its little hook. Brakeman Tim goes back to the switch, throws the switch. And we're backing in. And coupling it up. So after performing the coupling on the two cars, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to uncouple the engine from the cars and then run around it because the Pharma is a facing point siding. So Brakeman Tim's going to do that. He doesn't have to set the brake because we already got one brake set. Here in the Long Island Railroad, the rule is one brake for every 6 cars on flat even grade, which the entire layout is flat. So one brake for every 6 cars. And now Conductor Johnny is going to stay with the engine because he's going to have to throw some switches up in the future. But Brakeman Tim will stay with the cars. So we're back up here at the crossing, and Conductor Johnny is going to throw the switch. And he's going to watch the train go by. And he's going to throw the switch back because he knows the next time the train approaches this switch, it's going to be doing it on the main. All right, engine is clear of the switch. Throw the switch back to the main, and Conductor Johnny is going to go get back on the engine. And now we're at the other end of the siding, and Conductor Johnny has finally had to dismount from the engine, and he's going to throw the switch so that the engine can change over to the main track. So the switch is thrown, and Conductor Johnny waves the engine forward. Johnny will have to stay right there and, of course, throw the switch again once the engine crosses over. Engine got a little excited there. Switch is thrown and Conductor Johnny's jumped back on the engine. And we're going to go couple up with the cars. So with cars coupled, well, at least we hope they are, Conductor John's going to check the coupling and then release the brake on the refrigerator car, if you remember the brake was set. So while that's going on, Brakeman Tim is going to walk forward to the switch and set the switch. And once the switch is set, Brakeman will walk forward to the gate to Pharma and open up the gate. Meanwhile, the engine, Conductor John will get back on the engine and bring the engine forward. Brakeman Tim is there to supervise the coupling, and ka-chunk, got it coupled. So while Tim is coupling the cars, the conductor is going to dismount and walk a little bit forward on the track in preparation for the next event. So while conductor John has moved a little bit forward on the track, Brakeman Tim has coupled the cars and is now hitched right on the gondola so that he can throw the switch once we get to the switch. And Brakeman Tim will just stay right there at the switch. Conductor John will uncouple the gondola, and the emergency brake is still set because we never unset it. So he'll leave it right there, and then he will walk over to the gate and go inside the Pharma Special facility. Brakeman Tim throws the switch, and the train backs in, actually shoves forward into the Pharma Special facility. And while the train shoves forward into the facility, we can see that Conductor John has positioned himself up by the gate, or the big doors into the building, so that he can uncouple the boxcar when it gets there. And boxcar successfully uncoupled. Brake set. Train will back out of the facility. Conductor John will walk forward and lock the gate, and then do a little bit more walking and get back on the engine. Meanwhile, Brakeman Tim is still back here at the switch, ready for the train to go by so that he can switch it back to the main. Gate is closed. Good job, John. And after closing the gate, John walks back over to the gondola so that he can supervise the coupling. Meanwhile, Tim is hitched right on the boxcar in what appears to be an extremely unsafe fashion. Definitely get written up for that. Oh, I can't watch. Well, luckily, Tim was able to jump clear at the final second, and they've managed to get the cars coupled and unset the emergency brake on the gondola. And the next thing to do, since we have to back into the yard, is we got to run it back around the train. So both John and Tim will come back and uncouple the train from the engine, and the engine will run back around the rest of the train. John will stay with the engine because he's got switches to operate. Tim will stay with the cars. So we run around the train, and now we're approaching it again, where Brakeman Tim will supervise the coupling. And there we are, coupled. Now he will release the emergency brake, as he's standing right there. and then get back on the train. So now Conductor John will go back to the phone, and Brakeman Tim will go back and change the setting of the switch. And once the train is through the switch and onto the siding, Conductor John will call the dispatcher and release control of the switch back to the dispatcher. Okay, train is clear of the switch. Switching it back to the main and releasing control of the switch back to the dispatcher. So now all we have to do is return to the yard. So John and Tim will get back on the engine. And of course, Brakeman Tim got tasked with getting down off the engine and going forward and throwing the switch to get into the yard, which he has done. Now the train will pull into the yard. Flagman, what did I say his name was? Mike? Fred? Is there to flag the street. And the engine will stop once they get past the switch so that they can pick up good old Tim. And that does it for this episode. When I started making these videos, I had some ideas for what I wanted to do. And now I've pretty much done all of them. I am very grateful for the positive reaction I've received. I don't intend to stop making videos, so if anyone has any suggestions for what they would like to see, I would like to hear those suggestions. I don't intend to make how-to videos since there are many others doing that much better than I could, so please give me your ideas. Otherwise I'll just do whatever I want, and you probably don't want that. Anyway, see you next time on the Long Island Railroad Montauk Branch.